Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to Trippy Commentaries. Thanks for checking out the episode. I'm RJ. Today we're at one of the most mysterious things you can find in all of Red Dead Redemption 2, and that is this random missing mail cart. If you break into the lockbox, you can find individual letters, and I always found them highly interesting. In today's episode, we're going to get to the bottom of them. Huge shout out to my partner in crime, Anaruko, the White Hair Investigations. She recently researched this, and now we know exactly what's going on at the missing mail cart. Much love again to all the new subscribers. We got a big event this weekend, a GTA Online car show and meetup. It'll be on PS4, so don't miss it. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. That'll let you know as soon as it begins. You can either bring your car or be a judge in the chat. So let's take a look at the letters. Looks like he's kind of leaning over there. We will read the 5 individual letters. We got the letter to Judge Finley. Let's break it out. Okay, so letter to Judge Finley, and it says, Judge Finley, dear sir, your honor, you will pardon me for addressing you. However, I am very ill, so much so that I am not in a condition to attend my trial. If it would please your honor, I would like you to send me to the poor farm or send me my release. I am the unfortunate victim of a morphine habit. Judge, your honor, you have discharged me on more than one occasion, and by doing so, have exhibited great kindness. So take a look at the name. Letter to Judge Finley from Gertrude Eastwell. The name Gertrude, does that sound familiar? If you do so again, I promise I'll go away and be a good girl in the future. Yours, obediently, Gertrude Eastwell. I will show you who Gertrude is. It may surprise you. Here she is. Gertrude is Gertrude Braithwaite, locked away in the outhouse. She definitely had some sort of addiction issue and pretty much went crazy. But Anaruko has figured out that this is the Gertrude from the letter.
Gertrude Eastwell. Birth 1860. Birthplace Sewham, Cambridgeshire. Gertrude Eastwell is listed as a seller at Eastwell Park, Ashford, on January 1905 for Lord Gerard's herd, Lot 23. This is the only Gertrude Eastwell I could find that fit the time period. The only Gertrude in the game I could find was Gertrude Braithwaite, the crazy girl in the outhouse. Hypothesis. Gertrude Eastwell, whose maiden name was Gertrude Braithwaite, was married off to Mr. Eastwell. She was not pleased over this marriage and developed an extreme morphine habit. This led to her getting in trouble multiple times, going insane, and eventually her husband may have abandoned her. To avoid a scandal, family disgrace, her family hid her in the outhouse and wrote the letter on her behalf. They were trying to get Judge Asher Finley, a judge I believe to be in Blackwater, to dismiss the case so they could hide what happened to her and let the family secret just fade away. Is this right? Is this wrong? It's just a theory.
I'll put a link in the description to Anaruko's channel. Make sure to show her some love. So that is the only Gertrude in the entire game, and even Judge Finley is a connection to a real-life judge. The attention to detail is second to none when it comes to Rockstar Easter eggs. So another letter is the letter to Henrietta Douglas. Let's bring it out. This one says, from New York City to Henrietta Douglas, Tumbleweed. Ms. Douglas, it is with great sadness I write to inform you of the death of your husband. You may have read in the newspapers about the tragic fire that occurred at the White Horn Hotel here. As residents gathered to watch the St. Ignatius Day Parade, a few people began to cry out as smoke emerged from windows on the second floor of the hotel. Within 30 minutes, the entire building was engulfed in flames, and those on the upper floors were trapped. Your husband's body was recovered the next day amidst the rubble. We are working with the local coroner to prepare his body for shipment to you. Please write back at this address on the envelope with sincere sorrow, Jacob Sears. So that is a connection to a real-life event that happened in New York City, and Rockstar, for some reason, is referencing it. Once again, Anaruko found out what they were talking about.
New York City, White Horn Hotel. I think the hotel in the letter was based on the Windsor Hotel fire in New York City. The Windsor Hotel in Manhattan. The Windsor Hotel was located at 575 Fifth Avenue at the corner of East 47th Street in Manhattan, New York. The seven-story hotel opened in 1873, at a time when hotel residency was becoming popular with the wealthy. It burned down in 1899 with almost 90 people losing their lives. On St. Patrick's Day, March 17, 1899, while people were gathering below to watch the parade, a fire destroyed the hotel within 90 minutes. Supposedly, the fire started when someone threw an unextinguished match out of a second-floor window and the wind blew it against the lace curtains. This one is pretty self-explanatory. Mr. Douglas was in New York staying at the hotel when the fire started on March 17, 1899.
Why would Rockstar reference the Windsor Hotel fire? That story was so dark. The next letter is to Miriam from Annabelle. My dearest Miriam, I decided that I would write to you again because even though our world seems so far apart these days, I think of you often. New York is crowded and dirty, but so alive. It feels like anything is possible, even for a country girl like me. My biggest news is that I have been cast in a Henrik Isbin play. Now that is a real person. It is a small role, but now I can finally call myself a Broadway actress. This includes some characters that are highly mysterious, from Emerald Ranch. Sometimes I do miss home though, the peace and the clean air, being able to take a ride at first light. I received a letter from Lily Millette a while back, and it appears that she is experiencing some financial difficulties. She was always very sensible with money, so I am worried that Weasel Cooper has his claws in her again. Now you may remember, Lily and Cooper, it is one of the characters that Arthur has to go beat down to get some money. She also mentioned that she has not seen you leave the house in months. Really, I cannot even begin to imagine how painful it must have been for you to lose Joshua in such a horrible way, and I would never assume to instruct you how to grieve, but I worry about you existing in such isolation. This must be the 6th letter I've sent to you with no response. Please let me know that you are all right, even if it is just the shortest of notes to tell me to mind my own business. You can tell me anything. Your loving cousin Annabelle. P.S. Uncle Eugene. With the greatest of respect, if you are withholding my mail from Miriam, or dare I say, constraining her in any other way, I beg you to reconsider your actions. I know how much you love her, but please do not confuse love with possession. She's a beautiful, intelligent woman with so much life ahead of her. So do any of those names sound familiar to you? Uncle Eugene, Lily, I'll show you exactly who they are over at Emerald Ranch. Here he is. That is cranky Uncle Eugene. If you come around at all, he will start to pick a fight with you. Now we do not want that to happen, because Miriam can appear in the window upstairs right around midnight. Sometimes you'll see the light come on and you will see Miriam in the window, and that is exactly what the letter is talking about. So it's 11:43. It is getting close. Uncle Eugene, let Miriam go. So there he is. The lights turned on. It is midnight. Miriam, show yourself. Do you see her, guys? I don't see any movement up there at all. Wait, what is that? It's like the lights are flickering. I cannot see her, but she is definitely up there. I think the letter is pretty much telling us that Miriam is being held captive. So she's not really making an appearance. It's only sometimes, but I'm sure a lot of you have seen her before. Let's go ahead and hear what the White Hair Investigations has to say about her.
Annabelle. I can only find one reference to this spelling of Annabelle. Annabelle was either a member or associate of the Vanderlyn gang and had a close relationship with the gang's leader, Dutch Vanderlyn. At some point prior to 1899, Dutch killed the brother of his one-time associate, Colum O'Driscoll, who in return took Annabelle's life. Since she died before this letter was written, I doubt it's the same person. Unless she really isn't dead, used the attack from O'Driscoll to fake her own death to get away from the life of an outlaw, moved to New York, and became an actress. But that wouldn't even work in a movie, right? Uncle Eugene. Eugene Wagner is the owner of Emerald Ranch. His daughter is Miriam Wagner. You will often find Eugene Wagner sitting on the porch of Emerald Ranch. Eugene is hostile towards any outsiders and will almost always challenge players to a fight. He has clear signs of having something to hide and possessiveness. This has led a lot of people to believe the accidental shooting of Joshua was at the hands of Eugene. Hypothesis. Annabelle, of course, was in New York on Broadway and had been cast in a play according to the letter. The playwright she mentioned did have plays being performed on Broadway during this time, specifically A Doll's House and Ghosts.
Another dark and even twisted letter, but that's Rockstar's way of giving us the backstory to Emerald Ranch and telling us about Miriam. The next one is the letter to William Arrington, a stern letter from an exasperated father. I found this one to be pretty weird. It's Mr. William Arrington, 5 Rue de la Diligente, Saint Denis in Lemoyne. Dear William, how aggrieved I find myself to write your address on this letter. Not so long ago, I would have transcribed your residence as the finest college in the finest university in all of England. Now, well, what is this preposterous place? I am ashamed even to write its silly little name. Your gushing correspondence has not moved me so much as an inch. You write of great skies, beautiful lands, hard-working fellow citizens, and your own firm resolve. Now, this is about a father writing his son. He thought his son was going to go to Cambridge, one of the finest institutes in all of England. Instead, he came to America and Saint Denis, and the father is not happy about it. Had not England's skies, is the land of your birth not also beautiful? If you were lacking in hard work, I could have remedied your predicament quite easily, and done so without sundering our family in this appalling way. Now listen to this part. Your mother still believes you are touring Italy. If you do not reply to this letter with assurances that you intend to come back, I shall tell her your return ship was lost at sea with all hands. That, son, is my own firm resolve. Do not test it. Your loving father. So the father is so embarrassed of the son going to America in Saint Denis, he's going to tell the mom that instead he's dead. He just died. He went to Italy, and when coming back, he died. That's pretty messed up. I find that one just as dark as the other stories. I mean, was it really like that back in the day? Were fathers so embarrassed for their sons to come to America and Saint Denis that they would just rather them die? That is nuts. And the final letter is the letter to the Saint Denis Times Tribune, a letter from Dorian Weatherby, Esquire. And this one also is kind of weird. Dear sir, it has come to my attention that the habit of writing letters to newspapers has completely consumed my life. All I do all day is think about what I am going to say with this witty pitty and will impress people I do not know. I never used to care about being pithy. The heck is pithy? Now it is consuming my life. My once successful career as a fertilizer salesman is now but a distant memory. My life is now dominated by what others think of me. My vanity, pride, and self-absorption have become everything to me. Yet, I never used to be this way. On the eve of a new century, I pray that mankind will emerge fresh into a better world, one less consumed by the poses, pretentious, and images that have obsessed him in the 19th century. I have many hopes for our species, but few for myself. Please destroy any future letters I send you without opening them. I am turning over a new leaf. Life as a seller of chemical fertilizer is far more fulfilling than this shadow life as a man who exists merely through the eyes of others. Yours faithfully, Dorian Weatherby, Esquire. P.S. I note that in your last issue you misspelt my name. Really weird, right? I don't know what's going on here. It feels like a reference to a real life story, maybe a real life person who was doing stories for a newspaper but then became a fertilizer salesman. Extremely interesting. Let's see what Honoruko uncovered.
Saint Denis Times Tribune. Now, this newspaper is available in-game, in story mode for the player to buy different issues of. Now, what I think they did is, I think Rockstar took all the available newspapers from New Orleans that have been available over the times, combined them together to come up with the Saint Denis Times Tribune as a tribute to all the different newspapers.
You have an anonymous writer who works for the Saint Denis Times Tribune. He was calling it quits. It sounded like he wrote all of his stories ahead of time. They were works of fiction, but it doesn't seem like anybody was liking those stories. Now, he said he was going to become a fertilizer salesman. Honoruko did some detective work, and she said that back in 1899, fertilizer was still the experimental stage. So very strange, guys. Let me know if you have any thoughts, any theories. But that is what all 5 letters we're talking about. Much love to Anaruko and her amazing detective work. Once again, show her some love. I'll put a link in the description to her channel. And definitely hit the like on this video. She'll really appreciate that as well. With that said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the episode. We got a live stream coming up later on tonight. Shout out to everybody in the Red Dead Redemption 2 mystery community. With that said, guys, stay tuned here, Trippy Commentaries. Until next time, as always, make sure to stay trippy, my friends. Y'all come back now, you hear?